Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price right now. Today is one of the most important days of August for the equity markets and the cryptocurrency market, with CPI numbers coming out this morning, less than expected. That was extremely bullish for the equity and cryptocurrency markets. Coming into this next Fed's meeting in September, how's the rest of August going to play out? Let's dive straight into the charts and talk about what happened today with the CPI report coming out. The S&P 500 flying back above the 100-week moving average, and since the 1990s, a move back above the 100-week moving average for the S&P 500 has resulted in 30% more upside for the equity markets. That's extremely bullish. And what's also interesting about today, the DXY is having a big down day, shaping out to be one of the biggest down days since the onset of COVID. And what's interesting about the DXY is that if it topped out, it could potentially indicate a bottom for equity markets and the cryptocurrency market. And then look at this, the VIX is now in a free fall, broke the support trend line that managed to contain this whole downtrend throughout 2022. If the VIX is calming down, the volatility is coming down, that could result in continuation of this uptrend for the equity markets. And Bitcoin is now on its third week, holding the 200-week moving average as a support level. Let's dive straight into the chart, snipers, and look at what's happening to the Bitcoin price. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support these quick updates. So Bitcoin is still facing this major resistance at 24,300. But we all know the rule here on the Snipers channel. If you're having a cup of coffee right below a major level, that is probably not the final destination. And so if at any point in time, maybe while you're watching this video, we break above 24,300, our first upside target is going to be the 20-week moving average sitting right around that $29,000 level. Why is the 20-week moving average important? Well, that's the bull market support band that the S&P 500 right now is currently above the 20-week moving average, fully above it with this week's candle. And you can see the Ethereum to US dollar price, there's confluence right now with the 20-week moving average and the major resistance of 1980. It looks like Ethereum wants to come and test the $2,000 level. That would be an extremely large resistance level that if we can break above 2,000, it opens up the door to 3,500 for Ethereum. Let's talk about Bitcoin, and then we'll dive into the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, which is actually a lot more important than the Ethereum to US dollar price. But with Bitcoin, you can see we're still seeing indecision, but we're having this cup of coffee above the $22,500 support level. And we have come up to this level. So far, it looks like we've tested the $24,300 resistance level almost 5 times. The more you knock on the door, the more likely it is to break. I believe if at any point in time Bitcoin breaks above 24,300 with hourly and 4-hour candles, Bitcoin is set to test $29,000. And then we'll have to monitor this extremely important resistance that has held Bitcoin down throughout this bear market. The NASDAQ very similarly at that same resistance level, showing a little bit more strength than Bitcoin because it's already testing this bear market resistance level. As a matter of fact, it is trying to get above it as we record this video. So this is a very important puzzle piece to monitor into the rest of this week to assume whether or not the trend is going to continue to the upside for equity markets. I'll quickly mention this: gold back above 1765. That opens up the door for gold to move back towards 2,000 US dollars, potentially back into price discovery, especially if the DXY has topped out. Let's look at the DXY. What's happening to the DXY? Well, you can see we have this area of interest, the 20-week moving average that we're going to monitor for the DXY, because it looks like the DXY is ready to test the 20-week moving average as a support level. As long as it's above its 20-week moving average, it's still extremely bullish. But if we break below the 20-week moving average at 103.91, that could be the indicator of a reversal in trend and a potential top for the DXY. The major resistance right now is 106.56, and we are now seeing the DXY choose to come below this resistance level. It looks like it's starting to decide its direction. Of course, the trick, trap, and frustrate crew can come in and always shift things, but so far it looks like the DXY is calming down. It's coming down. That's an extremely bullish puzzle piece. The S&P 500 also finally starting to move away from this resistance level at 4,200 for the E-mini futures contract. Let's continue to monitor the S&P 500, but all eyes are on Bitcoin right now because it has clearly underperformed all of the other assets, as we've seen a relief in many different asset categories in the cryptocurrency market and the equity markets, but Bitcoin's still holding below 24,300. As long as we can see a break above 24,300, we are set to go higher. Now, I will mention this. A lot of times, because we've seen Bitcoin consolidate here for so long, there could be a potential trick, trap, and frustrate move that could clear some liquidity down below. I think that this is something we have to monitor. I wouldn't call this bearish, but I would call this a way for the market to correctly move further up, potentially clear out some leverage down here. If that happens, what we're watching is 21,000 US dollars for potential long positions if we see a break of 22,500, because that's where the most volume is inside of this consolidation. And if we believe Bitcoin is going to move above this consolidation, that could be the last time to enter into long positions at 21,000 with a good risk to reward, with a tight stop loss here at the 2018 previous all-time high at 20,000. I think that would be a fair play as long as the DXY doesn't form new highs, the S&P 500 maintains its strength, as well as the NASDAQ. Let's look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, snipers, and make sure to stay tuned until the end of this video. There's a lot I want to talk about at the end, but the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is finally starting to move above 77,000 Satoshis. Why is that significant? Well, that's now breaching this consolidation, kind of like the S&P 500, and now we have about 13% more upside before we face another major resistance, and that could allow Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin up to 13% until it finds resistance at 88,000 Satoshis. But it looks like the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is ready to move up, being above its 20-week moving average. This is also very positive for other altcoins because the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart will lead other altcoins. It looks like Ethereum is seeing this move in anticipation of the triple halving on September 19th for the Ethereum merge. It looks like we're starting to see the buy the hype, sell the news, potential price action playing part right now. And with that being said, snipers, the VIX down 9% in today's intraday session. That's a huge deal. The fact that we're starting to see the volatility come down, we're starting to see some positive news with the CPI reports. It looks like inflation has peaked so far. Interest rate hikes, of course, could still come, but they could be less aggressive as they have been in the past. Could we say the markets may have bottomed out in June/July as inflation peaked? This is a narrative that the bulls are going to want to run with. For Bitcoin, what's important is we break above 24,300. That's the major resistance that Bitcoin is facing right now. A break above 24,300 opens up the door to 35,000 US dollars. Of course, the 20-week moving average will be a major resistance level at 29,000. We have a CME gap around there as well. But 24,300, once again, as long as Bitcoin can see hourly and 4-hour candles above 24,300, I believe volume is going to start to come in to bring Bitcoin further up. And if at any point we see a liquidity grab down below 21,000 US dollars, the major support to watch. And with that, snipers, I appreciate each and every one of you tuned into the channel. Thank you for tuning in to the end of this video. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content. I'll quickly just talk about the total market cap real quick because it is testing this major resistance at 1.132 trillion. If we get a break above this resistance, it opens up the door for the total market cap to see about $750 billion more of liquidity coming in because the next major resistance is at 1.78 trillion. And so this is a major resistance for the overall market and the capital that could potentially come into the market. Japan and China are in the red right now for their market session for Thursday because they're ahead of the US equity markets. And so that's something to note, but nothing significant, no major moves. Across the board today, lumber was up 8%, Tesla up 3%, MicroStrategy up about 5%. It looks like the equities that are holding Bitcoin are still doing very well. Coinbase up 7% today, and a lot of the fintech companies doing well. Airbnb up 3%. US oil down today, almost below $90 a barrel, which is huge because that's a very positive sign for the other markets. And with that being said, snipers, I believe that is all right now that is significant to cover. I'll mention this. The Bitcoin to SPY chart is also something that we want to continue to keep our eyes on because this has clearly made Bitcoin an underperformer over the last few weeks because the Bitcoin to SPY has been showing weakness, very different than the Bitcoin to US dollar chart. You can see we've only formed lower highs for the Bitcoin to SPY chart. If we can break this trend of seeing lower highs, I think that would be something very significant to monitor. So we'll continue to monitor the market structure there for the Bitcoin against the SPY. But with that, what an amazing day today, probably the most important day of the month for the equity markets and the cryptocurrency market with the CPI numbers coming out. less than expected, which was the positive news that we wanted to see. So let's see what happens over the next few days as this market starts to really absorb this news, and we'll continue to monitor the S&P 500 and see if we can stay above 4,200 for the E-mini futures contract. As long as we continue to show that strength, then Bitcoin really has the potential of breaking that $24,300 resistance level, and that's going to be a momentous moment because Bitcoin can now break above this major consolidation. We've seen this happen in the past when Bitcoin has bottomed out, where it will come to a major resistance. Remember in the March of 2020 drop, where we came up to 7,000, we tested 7,000, came back down to 5, came back to 7, and we just kind of kept testing that resistance until we finally broke through. So that's partially what's playing part right now so far, because we haven't seen the rug get pulled for the Bitcoin market, and the other revolving parts are still very positive for Bitcoin to still have the green light to see some upside. So it's going to be exciting to monitor this over the next few days, snipers. I'll keep you guys updated as always. I appreciate each and every one of you tuned into the channel. Thank you all for tuning into this video today, and I'll see you guys next time, snipers.